Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It is me, Kay. I'm here today to review episode 15, season 5 of All American. I think it was called United in Grief. This episode was really good. These are the episodes of substance that, I like because it's telling the story, but it's also like like a reflection moment of things you go through in your life. And I just want to start with Patience and JJ first, and then I'll work my way to Spencer. Well, I can start with Jordan too. Jordan is trying to unite the team. Right now, he is kind of the leader of the team. There were a lot of guys who left the team because, of the scandal that's going on currently at GAU. And so he's partnering with Coach Kenny now that Coach Kenny is now the official head coach. He's trying to help build that team chemistry, bring back that bond, and help to ease the tensions of the team. So in the beginning, of course, as we all know, Jordan ain't afraid to throw hands. Anytime Jordan get into a mishap, Jordan gets very aggressive and he ready to throw hands. But Coach Kenny ended up breaking it up, and then he ended up going back to Coach Kenny. They had a little, rough patch as well, him and Coach Kenny did, but Jordan took the time to communicate, which was great because, people really underestimate the value of communication and what that could do. So, Jordan was just like, am I misunderstanding something? And then Coach Kenny him clarified. Then they came up with the idea of a team bonding. So they did like this little touchdown dance for everybody. He would throw past everybody and they would do their gritty, just to boost team morale. Which, is needed sometimes. But yeah, so that's I think that's all I have for Jordan. Of course, he was concerned about Spencer. Him and Spencer are very close, but right now Spencer is not speaking to anybody. Oh yeah, let me not. Spencer was real disrespectful to Dylan and real disrespectful to his mama this morning when they was eating pancakes, and that was the time for Grace to turn up. But Grace is a good mama because she understood that her son is grieving, so she let him slide, but she was like, you will not talk to me in that manner. Just so we clear, this is the line. All right, I'm here with you for everything else, but this is the line, sir. And Dylan got up because Dylan is no longer a little boy. Dylan got up and got Spencer face and was like, listen here, I might be the little brother, but I ain't little no more. I was like, Dylan, period. Okay, anyway, he was also rude to Principal Daddy Carter, as Olivia calls him. He was like, this is family issues. I was like, Spencer, that is no way to talk to your new daddy. Don't do him like that. All he is doing is trying to protect his wife and Dylan. Okay? He was doing his job. Why Principal Daddy Carter daughter ain't never around? Where's his daughter at? If the mama is no longer in the land of the living, where's she at? Why she ain't never around? Hold one moment. Sorry, y'all. Okay, so I was just finishing up the whole conversation with Dylan and Spencer and his family. Spencer was supposed to take Dylan somewhere to see an artist, a cartoon artist, but of course Spencer left and he left Dylan. So Coop ended up having to do it. Spencer says he's having feelings of detaching himself. You know what? We're going to keep going on with the story. We're gonna get to that. JJ came back around this episode. We haven't seen JJ since Billy's funeral. From the way JJ was speaking, he sounded like he was trying to get back on track. He was thankful for a second chance. And he told Asher that he knew that everybody was upset with him about drinking at Billy's reception. At Billy's repast. But he said that the way that he was feeling, he just had a little bit of drink to cope with how he was feeling about Coach Baker. And of course, you know, Olivia threw him out a couple episodes ago, so he hasn't been around everybody, and everybody has seen him. Oh, excuse me. I feel like from the way the conversation that was being had, I thought that JJ, since JJ was missing all those weeks, I thought that JJ had admitted himself into AA or some type of rehab or some type of outpatient program to help him cope with whatever he's going through and with his drinking. But when JJ looked down in his bag in the episode and he was like, "You can do this, you can do this," I was like, maybe he hasn't gone to AA, cause why does he have a flask in his bag? But then I was just like, I don't know. So the story with JJ is still developing. I do hate that we had to wait this far in the season to try to see what's going on, because JJ has been very in and out of the season. But I guess before the season ends, hopefully we figure out the status on JJ. So now on to Patience. We now see that Patience does have a bona fide stalker. And Layla did end up telling Patience after the fact, which I was happy, because I didn't want Patience to, be weird at her album release party. That was her time to enjoy herself and her, to celebrate her accomplishments. But in typical fashion, Layla told Patience something and Patience didn't listen. Patience went and met with Miko. I think that's the girl's name, Miko, at Slauson's again. And Miko, is manipulative. Like, that's just it. And she had this conversation with Patience. She tried to gather the sympathy card from Patience. So when some other fans came up to take a picture with Patience, Patience left her phone on the table and her pocketbook. I thought she was going to go through Patience's purse and take something and try to sell it. But that's not what happened. She took Patience's phone and put some spyware on it. And so then when Patience and Layla was having a talk later, she could hear everything they were saying about her. And so now she's probably going to do something crazy the next episode, but we have to wait probably another 2 weeks or so before All American comes back on, because I think it's not coming back on to April 17th. So now, look, all these mini hiatuses y'all are doing, CW, it's not cute. Just let the season be over and done with, okay? Anyway, Miko put that spyware on Patience's phone, and now she overheard what Patience. So hopefully she's either gonna do probably trash Patience online now, and Patience engagement with her audience and the views and stuff is gonna go awry, or she's gonna show up to Patience. She's gonna try to harm herself, or she either gonna try to harm Patience. So this storyline for Patience looks like it's gonna turn dark, unfortunately. And now for Spencer. It was just so many layers. It was just so good. I'm glad that Spencer is going to do counseling for grief, because sometimes grief can be tricky depending on who's dealing with it, and it's just the fact that I think the reason why grief is so tricky is because your mind has to adjust between the two realities. The realities of what once was, and the reality of what is now the present. And so, of course, we know a couple episodes back, Billy and Spencer were not speaking. Well, Spencer wasn't speaking to Billy, but Billy was reaching out to Spencer multiple times to try to, apologize and talk to him, And in typical fashion, Spencer was kind of, lashing out. And so, of course, the accident happened. Everybody survived but Billy. And the voicemail was what Spencer had. All left of Billy. And because of the therapist, he now views the voicemail as a gift. But before that, the voicemail only served as a reminder that he didn't get to say goodbye to Billy. And that was his last chance to talk to Billy. And he felt like, had he would have answered the phone, Billy wouldn't have been on the bus. And, he could have probably altered things from happening. But the therapist let him know that no matter what he could have done, he couldn't have saved Billy. Because, Billy went back to save Jabari. And it was Billy's choice to go save Jabari. And it was Billy's choice to, I don't want to say it was his choice to leave, but Billy sacrificed. So essentially Billy made a choice. And he viewed Jabari's life more valuable than his. And so he gave his life for Jabari. I just thought it was neat how they pieced the storylines from the beginning of All American to current day All American. And I never really, I figured that when Billy died, Spencer felt like he lost another father figure, but it was a little bit more deeper than that. And if you watch TV, or if you watch a series just not for, just to watch it because it's good for entertainment, but if you like really watch TV and if you analyze like what's happening, Spencer had abandonment issues. And that makes more sense now because of how the whole thing with him and Liv panned out. Spencer ended up saying one thing to the therapist that I thought was deep. And what he said was that not only does he feel like he was equating death to a person leaving him. And even though he couldn't, do anything about his father dying, his father still came back and he had a chance to say goodbye to his father. So I don't think he viewed his father as leaving him. But the therapist did end up saying something else that was interesting, and that was the fact that, like, your defense mechanism is the little boy in you. The little boy in you tries to cope with the fact that, so-and-so left, and now you don't, how do you say it? The little boy in you is your defense mechanism. So when anybody tries to leave your life, the little boy in you tells you things to protect you. And I thought that was deep because that's so true. A lot of things that happen in a person's childhood, in their adulthood, when they are triggered, it's nothing but that child, you, not fighting with the adult you, but the child you is in defense of the adult you. And I thought that was pretty deep. Spencer also equated to anytime anything happens in his life and he needs a person, they always leave. He said he got close to Darnell and Darnell left with his mom. I knew Spencer was cool with Darnell because at first Spencer had a little beef with Darnell because Corey was in Darnell's life and Corey was basically Darnell's father. And so I thought that they would have made Darnell a part of the show, but Darnell ended up being on BMF. So hopefully, Darnell can now go back and forth between both shows and stay in Spencer's life. I would have loved to see Darnell go to GAU and play with Spencer. Or even go to Coastal Carolina, at least, be in the area. That way they can have that camaraderie. He don't got to be on every episode, but you know what I'm saying? He could be a recurring character. He equated Sean's death. And I didn't really think that Spencer and Sean was friends like that. I mean, I knew that he said that he grew up with him and that was his childhood friend. But I guess that death had more impact than I realized. Because I know, like, it really hurt Spencer that, of course, Sean went down the wrong road. And it ended up, costing him his life. But, I just didn't I just didn't view this Sean's dying he equated Sean's dying to him leaving. He equated that same thing to Corey. He equated that same thing to Billy. He also said when things got hard, Olivia left him. And when he said that, I was thinking like, Olivia left him. And I'm still trying to piece that together because I feel like Spencer broke up with Olivia, but at the same time, I guess with the breakup, he still viewed Olivia. He never thought Olivia would leave his side even throughout the breakup. And so even while they was trying to navigate that awkward friend territory, the feelings that he was trying to, I guess, code for Olivia, that's how he got all tied up with Alicia, because Alicia was there to fill a void, which, duh, we all know that. But it's just a simple fact that, like, he equated, because Olivia basically, after the breakup, she did put distance between Spencer. Now, she did do that. She did put distance between them. She was like, no, we're just friends, we want closure. And now she's trying to come back. And so now he don't know how to handle that, because he's like, you left me once, why would I give you room to leave me again? But I guess that was part of the conversation that eventually he was going to have with her. And I feel like he was going to kind of reconfirm his feelings to Liv on that walk. But Alicia also ended up showing up and interrupting the walk. I was hoping to see Kia at the house, because now I'm Team Kia. I don't really want Olivia with Spencer no more. But Kia walked there. But yeah. Oh yeah, and then back to the scene with Dylan. Dylan come to the house. Coop, I appreciate Coop. I appreciate Coop because, you know, only somebody who been there that long besides you can say something like that in that moment and it have that effect on a person. Because I believe had anybody else said what Coop said to Spencer, it wouldn't have had that effect. Because Jordan tried to have a conversation with Spencer. Kenny tried to have a conversation with Spencer. And Spencer just was, like he said, he was detaching himself from everything. But it wasn't until Coop came to the house and Dylan was like, yeah, you were supposed to take me to go see the artist, but you got mad and walked out. And so Coop was telling Spencer something, and Spencer got mad and punched a hole in the furniture. And Coop was like, Dylan, let's go. I don't even feel safe for leaving you here with him, because I done seen every version of Spencer. I don't know who this person is. And I think that opened Spencer's eyes, which, you know, I guess, you know, that kind of made him more open to talking to somebody. You know, even like watching him navigate his grief journey on TV, it makes me reflective of my current grief journey as well. And I know they didn't take the spiritual what am I trying to say? Even though they didn't take the spiritual point or path on the show, they took the therapy route. There's nothing wrong with therapy. And sometimes you need a little bit of spiritual with therapy. But there's this one scripture that keeps coming to my mind that says, grief or sorrow may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. So you have time to reflect. You have time to grieve. And I don't even know why sometimes people feel like they just can't come to terms with their feelings, you know. you can't acknowledge your feelings. You just can't allow your feelings to overtake you. And I think, that's where we as people, we sometimes get lost on that path. And even with dealing with my grief, I had to allow myself to feel hurt. I had to allow myself to be disappointed. I had to allow myself to be reflective. I had to allow myself to be happy, because you go through a sea of emotions when you deal with grief. And it's also this other scripture that keeps coming to my mind where it says, you have to be transformed by the renewal of your mind. So even in the Bible tells you about your mind and how, things, the Bible isn't, people think the Bible is so outdated, and in order to renew your mind, you always have to talk to yourself. You always have to encourage yourself. You always have to tell yourself stuff. You know what I'm saying? You even have to go and listen to somebody, like a therapist, because that's what Spencer was doing. In order to, you have to continuously renew your mind, or else your mind will stay in that same place. Your mind will also be overwhelmed with different feelings and emotions, and then you'll get caught up in that sinking feeling of emotions like Spencer was. And then sometimes it can turn toxic, like how he was lashing out and was angry at everything, mad at the world and mad at himself. So it's just, it was very mirroring for me, so to speak. And I was just glad that, Coach Kenny definitely checked him and was like, "La boy, I let you talk to me like that once, but you ain't gonna talk to me like that again." He definitely chin checked Spencer, and Spencer didn't have nothing to say. But that's another reason why Spencer did not want Kenny to be there or to be in his life, or when he got triggered when Kenny called him son, because he just was like, "I don't need nobody else to try to be there like that for me in that aspect. I just need you to do your job. I can handle everything else." But unfortunately, when you are a team, those are the closest people you with all the time, and you can't help but to correlate your teammates as family. It's just the way it goes. Like, it's just the way it goes. And I think this was a good episode. It's just funny to me that y'all CW writers think y'all slick, because Spencer owed Olivia a conversation, and now the show is going on a 2-3 week hiatus. Simone owed Damon a conversation, and y'all ended the season. Y'all ain't right. But yeah, y'all, so this is my review. I ain't reviewed my homecoming episode yet, but it's coming. So stay tuned for that. Let me know what you thought of the episode, and I'll be back in a few weeks to review All American once it come back on TV. Now that homecoming's over, I don't know what I'm doing the next couple weeks, because y'all ain't gonna have no reviews. But I guess if you have it, since we on hiatus, you can go back and analyze and watch game film. Sorry, this ain't game film, it's episodes, but I'm equating it to sport. Y'all get it. Y'all can go back and watch film and see if we could read in between the lines. View my playlist. I got an All American playlist. View that, okay? View my All American playlist. View my homecoming playlist, okay? And let's just, stay up to par. Homecoming will be on Netflix if you hadn't known, if you watch Homecoming, because I know some of y'all funny. Homecoming will be coming to Netflix April 11th. So around the time Homecoming's coming to Netflix, we got a couple more days and All American be back on TV. So, deuces.